Hello everybody, and Happy New Year to those of you who use the Gregorian solar calendar. So I know I've been away for a good while. I've been posting on Facebook and Twitter a little bit and everything to try and keep you all apprised. I'm still not doing super well, but I thought that it would be nice for me to kind of dip my toe back in for 2023 and go back to one of my mainstays and one of my personal favorite types of videos, which is 5 more games that I'm looking forward to. So it's the beginning of the month, it's the beginning of the year for a lot of people. And so I'm excited to share some more games with you that are either new and upcoming or recently released or relatively recent release that I sort of didn't see and slipped under my personal radar. But that said, I wanted to say thank you all so much for your support. I really appreciate it. And as I've mentioned previously as well, I'm going to try to keep up at least relatively regularly with doing more videos because I really do want to. But that said, enough about me. We are going to dive right in with my number 5. At number 5, I've got Mind MGMT. I'm not sure if it's meant to be management or what, but this is an older game, which is why it's low on the list. The thing is that this really hits home for me because it's some great logical deduction, not to mention the fact that you've got an all versus one style of gameplay, with the idea being that one person is trying to recruit new people and everybody else is playing as a rogue agent trying to stop them. It's hidden movement, it's, like I said, all versus one and all of that kind of stuff. It seems really interesting, really fascinating, and it's unfortunate because I haven't heard a lot about it. So I'm really curious and hoping that sometime I'll get to play it. But with that, Mind Management, or MGMT, is my number 5. At number 4, I've got the Car Wars core set. So this is off of the Car Wars card game from Steve Jackson Games, and it appears that Steve Jackson Games is going a lot into some of their older IPs and re-releasing them. We see the Munchkin board games, or the board style games. We see a re-release of Illuminati, 2nd edition, all this kind of stuff. The new Car Wars one is kind of interesting because it's a big box style game, and you're talking about an actual board game as opposed to a very basic card game, which I think fits the theme a lot better in terms of Destruction Derby style stuff. But at the same time, it is kind of a revamping, and it's also very expensive, so not sure how great it's going to be, but it is Steve Jackson, and I always tend to love Steve Jackson stuff. So Car Wars, the core edition, or the new board game, is my number 4. At number 3, I've got Woodcraft. This is a game that I find very inspiring in several different ways. First off, it's a nice fantastical type of game where you're playing as wood elves who are trying to grow trees, to collect the wood, and then build up various structures and all that sort of thing. Being an exceedingly amateur woodworker at the time, or right now at least, I really think that it's a cool theme that I honestly have not seen before. And this is a new game that was only just recently released. It's not got great reviews, but from what I can tell, it seems like it's pretty good. You've got some decent action selection and resource management and all of that kind of stuff. So I think it's pretty interesting, and I think it's worth a look. So Woodcraft, all in all, is my number 3. At number 2, I've got Carnegie. This, unfortunately, is a Kickstarter game, but it seems unlike a lot of other Kickstarter games that use a similar concept. So for those of you who don't know, Andrew Carnegie was a robber baron back in the 1800s here in the United States. He was a steel mogul who basically ran the entirety of the steel industry, but most famously he became a philanthropist towards the end of his life and donated the vast majority of his wealth to charity. Hence we have things like Carnegie Hall and Carnegie Mellon University and all this sort of thing. And what I really love about this game is that it includes that philanthropic aspect in addition to the industry building aspect of Carnegie's reign. So I think it's really interesting. It's a really interesting take on this whole concept of building up your industry, doing an engine building type of thing and manufacturing and all that sort of thing, while at the same time taking note of what the man did with the end of his life and what he did for the world, because in his end, at least, it was good. But one can very easily argue that it didn't make up for all of the bad that he did, but that's neither here nor there because this is about board games. And suffice to say, Carnegie is my number 2. At number 1, I've got Dungeons & Dragons: The Yawning Portal. This is a really fascinating one for me personally because we've seen a lot of D&D games where we've got the Castle Ravenloft, we've got Legend of Drizzt, we've got Lords of Waterdeep, all of this kind of stuff. And one of the things it has in common is Faerun. Faerun is a standardized world in what's called the Forgotten Realms, yada yada yada. You all don't need to know too much about it. If you've heard of the Baldur's Gate games, then you've probably heard of some of this stuff. The Yawning Portal is a famous bar/tavern in the city of Baldur's Gate where a lot of adventures begin. The thing is that in this particular game, you're not playing D&D. You're playing as one of the proprietors of the Yawning Portal, trying to get the orders of the adventurers correct. You know, they want their mutton and their meat and all of this kind of stuff. And it's just a really interesting twist on the whole formula of a very standard, very well-known RPG franchise. And I absolutely love the concept for it. I think it's going to be really interesting. I'm looking forward to playing it. It does have some like kind of Red Dragon Inn vibes and things of that nature. And plus, of course, D&D. I love D&D. But that said, with all of that, D&D, The Yawning Portal is my number 1. Well, everybody, that's going to be it for me. I hope that you enjoyed another top 5 games that I'm excited about that have either recently been released, relatively speaking, or are going to be released. And on top of that, a slight bit of a return after a few weeks of a hiatus. Again, as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm going to be continuing with these relative hiatuses, or hiati, I don't know what the plural is, but essentially just kind of taking some time to myself and relaxing and all that kind of thing. But just know I'm still here, still answering comments. I am doing my best to try and get out videos as regularly as possible, but I just have some other stuff that I've needed to focus on. So again, thank you all primarily so much. I truly appreciate all the support and like love and appreciation that you all have given. It's absolutely wonderfully helpful, and I hope that you continue to enjoy my videos. But that said, I'm going to hop off for now. Once again, Happy New Year to your Gregorian friends and you solar folk, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.